Hey folks, today we're going to be painting Sabretooth by GG Studio. If you're new to 3D printing and painting, I want to invite you to try out this hobby, step outside your comfort zone, and have some fun creating alongside me. I'm going to show you all the tips and tricks that I used to paint Sabretooth. Alright, first, before we can prime everything, we have to take care of any unwanted seams. And in this case, this model fits together like a Lego brick, except for this base. Now, not that the base didn't fit together, but we do have a seam that we need to fill. And I'm just using some light curing putty from Frozen here and a silicone brush to fill in that seam. And then I cured it out with a UV flashlight. And then I took some Mr. Surfacer 500 and went over that seam just to help smooth out any rough edges. Now this next step, I'm going to be dry brushing a gray. This is a medium gray dial dry brush color from Ammo over top of the entire base. And then I'm going back over with white over top of all the highlight areas that I want to highlight. This is called pre-shading, and I'm using dry brushing as a pre-shading method so that I can use the contrast that we create in the grayscale as we start to add color. And we're going to start by doing that with this brown black from AK's Quick Gen line. This is a color that just works really well for stones as a base tone. Now, we're going to be doing a lot more than just this. So if you're interested in getting into 3D printing and painting, I have a whole series that I've just recently started on how to get into this hobby that I'll leave a link for you above and down in the description. So now that we have our base coat down of the grayscale, we added a little bit of the brown tones for the wood and the stone. I will say this is actually me getting ahead of myself here. I'm actually painting on some brown over top of the bark, but it was too dark. I really wasn't happy with it. I wanted this to be more of a vibrant looking wood. It was just too dark. So I stopped where I was and I went back over everything with a burnt umber color over top of all the wood, and then I started stippling it with this foam brush with various shades of light browns and olive colors to kind of make it look like an aged, broken down tree or fallen down tree. And here you can see some of those olive tones. I'm just going over top of everything, and it's giving it that, again, worn look. The part that was exposed, I used lighter shades of even yellows to add more of that, inside of the wood look as the tree has been broken off. Now, the last thing I did with the wood was I actually went over it with like a grayish green color, and that really sold it on the wood look. I also went over all of the rocks with various shades of grays and greens to also give the rocks some more variation in color. And here you can see after I painted all the snow using a very grayish light blue color, then going over everything with more gray blues until I came up all the way to white. And this just gives it a cold look, gives it a more artistic look of snow, and added in all the rocks that they kept separate, which was making it so much easier to paint all that snow. And I was really happy with this result. GG Studio is a group of longtime painters that decided to start their own Patreon to fill the gap in models that they could never find great designs for. They want to focus on some classic superheroes and villains, and they also want to add in a few diorama fight scenes as well. Because they are painters first, all of their models are cut in a way that keeps painters in mind. Right now, they have a founders tier for the first 50 people that join their Patreon. One other thing that they're including for their founding members is they're going to allow the founders to make suggestions. Out of those suggestions, they'll select 10 of them and make a poll where everyone can vote. The person who made this suggestion that gets chosen through the vote will get to join the process of making it with the artists and have input on the design. Now this next trick I'm going to show you, I've shown you guys before on my Jubilee video. I've shown it on my Rogue video way back in the day. And I'm going to show you how you can actually create this same effect using only ionic paints. So first off, we have a white primered part, and we're adding pink, magenta, any shade of pink really, of a darker shade of pink, but you can go lighter if you want. It all depends. You can even shade this, so like the more saturated the pink is, the darker your shadow will be, so just keep that in mind. As I had the pink out, I also did a splattered undercoat for his face. Now, if you don't know how to do that, you just turn the air pressure way down on your airbrush until it leaves a splatter instead of a spray. And it's a cool way to make a more realistic undercoat for your skin tones. For this ochre, okay, this is ionic ochre, and it looks like a transparent paint because, first of all, yellow doesn't cover very well, but more importantly, I added matte varnish into the mix, and when you add a varnish into your paint, it actually turns it into a more transparent paint. So you don't have to spend a lot of money on Citadel paints to get a transparent look. You can actually just simply add varnish to your colors, and it'll give you that transparent color look. So after I painted that yellow, I'm spraying some brown onto the leathery parts of his outfit, including his hands. Now, I started with airbrushing just to save a little bit of time, but I didn't like how it looked. I actually changed the color a little bit and went to a darker brown, and I brush painted it on, and I was much happier with the results because, again, brown is another one of those colors that you don't necessarily always get the best coverage with. So I wanted to make sure I got a good coverage over top of that yellow and pink that I had overspray on. So after I painted all the browns on, I highlighted some of the stitching with some yellows. We painted some details black, and then I also found there was a small metal part here that I thought was interesting. So I just used a black metallic because it's just it gives it a nice metallic sheen without being too shiny. I also used a sponge highlighting trick that I haven't used much since I painted tanks, but I was like, man, this is actually a really cool trick. So you just use a sponge like you would dry brushing, and you dab it off onto a paper towel, and then you can highlight areas. So I highlighted some of the areas of the brown with like an orangish color, which is like a light leather. And then I washed over all the details with a brown wash that I made, again, just using some AK Quick Gens and water and some glaze just to add a little bit of body to it so it wasn't too runny. I just made a wash out of it, and it helped to add in some definition around those shadowed areas. So you can shade with both an airbrush and a brush. It all depends on what you're comfortable with and what you want to try. I was experimenting with some of the brush painting on this one here, and I was really happy with the results. Here you can see I just used golden flesh for the skin. So not for the skin, for the hair, but it's a golden flesh color by Ionic that I used for the blonde hair, and then I dry brushed it with a yellow light color. Now, for the skin on this one, I mentioned I already splattered it with the magenta earlier, and then I went over it with just a light coat of elf skin because he had very fair skin colored in here, and it's kind of cold in the scene as well because of the snow, so I kept the pale skin tone. And then I'm using various red washes. I kind of started with Vivid Flesh from the AK Quick Gen range, and then I slowly added in some of the red color, like a darker red, crimson red AK Quick Gen color into my wash, and I just slowly build up the effect around his eyes, around his cheeks, around his lips, and around all these cuts. And I chose to paint this face of the three that I showed earlier because I thought it added the most to the scene. If you're interested in any of the products that you see today, I do have them all on my store at relentlessstormmodels.com, and you can actually bundle and save. If you buy a DIY kit, which is just a 3D print that I will send to you, you can actually save 20% on all your paint supplies that you order with a DIY kit. So you get a cool resin kit. If you're new to the hobby and you just want to try out a kit, I'll gladly offer you one and give you a discount on paint supplies. If you want some more behind the scenes content, daily vlogs, how-to videos, photos, and even paint-alongs that I'm starting to do, check out my Patreon as well. Now back to this face. As I mentioned, I wanted to try painting this face a little bit differently, so I'm mostly using a brush and washes. As I said, I started with Vivid Flesh wash around his eyes and around his cheeks just to add some of that warmth to the skin. And then I added in more crimson as I went into my wash in the cup that you see in the background. And I just kept building up the layers of the transparent paints over top of the gums, the lips, and all those cuts. And I will say this is the first time I've ever painted a portrait without using airbrush shading. And I was actually really happy with how it turned out, because it was something new for me. I stepped outside my comfort zone to try something new. I never painted a face with scars all over it. It was all something new to me, and I actually really enjoyed the process. With that out of the way, I was able to work on his teeth a little bit. And I just use Fang Gray for this because, I mean, it literally has Fang in the name and their teeth, and it works really well. It's a great teeth color. Now, if you notice, I'm using a zero brush here, and I'm just hitting like the highlight areas of the teeth. I'm not painting all the gaps. I'm leaving that fleshy tone in between the gaps of the teeth, and that actually adds some depth. You're essentially using the flesh tone as a shadow. Now, I did paint outside the lines a little bit here. It does happen. I just went back over it with my washes here to fix up that little touch on the lips. Also added in some more of like the bloodish look with the crimson wash around his gums and teeth there. And I splattered some on the teeth to make it look like some of it got on his teeth and he's grinning through blood. And lastly, I put some white in his eyes because he just has white eyes. Now back to the fur that's all over his face and his beard. I'm using the same color. This is Ionix Golden Flesh color as a base coat for the blonde look. I think it works really well in this case for this character because his hair is very yellow. So Golden Flesh works really well for blonde. And then while I was waiting for that to dry so I could dry brush it, I worked on the burnt umber color that I used for his leather parts of his portrait here. And there we can see what it looks like before the dry brushing. You can see all the details and how I build up all those washes, and it looks really good. And then after everything was dry, I could finally dry brush on those really light yellow parts onto his hair and his beard, fur, and his giant eyebrows. I mean, seriously, dude, trim them. Like, what are you waiting for? Gosh, that's awful. But it looks really good in the end. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Did you find this helpful? Are you interested in getting into 3D printing and painting? What questions might you have? If you haven't already checked out my video on how to get started in 3D printing and painting, I do have that. And I have plenty more content and how-tos coming your way, so please be sure to come back, subscribe so you don't miss those videos when they do come out. And again, check me out on Patreon if you want to see more behind the scenes and more in-depth how-tos and paint-alongs. I'd love to see you over there and join a growing community. We'll catch you guys here next time with another awesome model, and I hope you guys all have a good rest of your day.